All right, in Traverse City, Michigan, Donald Trump supporters waited for nearly 3 hours, yes, 3 whole hours, to see their candidate last night. Some folks had to leave before the event even started. He was delayed down in Austin, Texas, taping that sprawling 3-hour interview with Joe Rogan. The massively popular podcast allows its conversations to, quote, breathe, as they say. The Joe Rogan Experience is known for going long, and that's helped it amass its primarily male audience. And that goes hand in hand with Trump's focus lately on doing these so-called bro podcasts. Trump and Rogan hit on a ton of topics, including Trump's view of RFK Jr.
RFK is going to be very, I think he's a great guy.
I love the fact that you guys teamed up.
Yeah.
And are you completely committed to have him a part of your administration?
Oh, I am.
Numerous times, Trump praised Confederate leader Robert E. Lee, somehow connecting him in the same sentence to the UFC.
He was in a war. He was having a hard time because he couldn't beat Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee won like 13 battles in a row, and he was getting like a phobia, like a fighter. You know, a lot about the fight stuff. But like, I went to a UFC fight, and it was a champion who was 14-1 about a year ago. Robert E. Lee won many battles in a row. He was just beating the hell out of him. You know, they tried to get Robert E. Lee to be on the North, but he said, no, I have to be with my state. You know, the state was his whole thing, and he went to the South. And he was, I've had generals tell me, we have some great generals, the real generals, not the ones you see on television, the ones that beat ISIS with me. We defeated ISIS in record time. It was supposed to take years, and we did it in a matter of weeks. These are great generals. These are tough guys. These are not woke guys. But their favorite general in terms of genius was Robert E. Lee.
In terms of strategy, you mean?
Strategically.
And in the most unexpected of detours, Trump touched on whales and his apparent concern about the impact of windmills on their psychology.
I want to be a whale psychiatrist. It drives the whales freaking crazy. And something happens with them. But for whatever reason, they're getting washed up on shore, and yet the environmentalists
conveniently ignored by the environmental
but the environmentalists
people.
They don't talk about it.
Right.
And you know that unique style of storytelling that Trump has, in common language, it's called rambling. No, Trump says it's an art form called the weave. Even at one point while he was doing the weave, Rogan actually called him out on it. Watch.
I like to give the weave. I like to.
You like to weave things in.
But when you do the weaves, and you have to be very smart to do weaves. When you do the weave, look at this. Just in this one thing, we're talking about little pieces all over here, but it always ends up home. No, it comes back home. For the right people. For the wrong people, it doesn't come back home, and they end up in the wilderness. You're not a Kamala person. You're a Khabib person, but you're not a Kamala person. Nobody's going to know who Khabib is, but.
They know who
he was not bad, right? That guy.
Oh, he was phenomenal.
But that's your kind of
your
person.
weave is getting wide. We're getting wide with this weave.
But isn't it
I want to bring
better?
it back to tariffs.
I want to bring it back to tariffs. I want to bring it back to common sense. Dino Badella, Danielle Moody are with us. So, some people call it rambling. Donald Trump called it the weave. Joe Rogan was trying to kind of bring it in a little bit. That's just BS. I mean, let's just be honest about that. That's Donald Trump not knowing what he's talking about, BSing his way through 3 hours. I don't know if it's because it was 3 hours and he didn't have the stamina and he was fatigued. But the truth of the matter is he just doesn't know what he's talking about.
He's insane.
He is insane.
A whale psychiatrist? Donald Trump, that's going to be his
Let's throw him in the ocean and see what happens. Let's put him in the ocean and see.
Do you know what I'm saying? Let's see what happens.
Free Willy.
But it's not a weave. It is rambling lies because he's disoriented. He doesn't know where he is. And you know what makes me so angry is that all of the people that sit down for interviews with him, kind of usher him along, like a shepherd does with sheep. Yeah. Come on, lone sheep, follow me here. The word is tariffs, that they're hanging in front of him, hoping to jog his memory, as opposed to what the hell are you talking about?
There was actually, you know what I liked about the Joe Rogan podcast, and this is what's so unique about Joe Rogan, is that he let him have the 3 hours. And I think even with the full 3 hours, and just not interrupting him, not challenging him, not pressing him, you realize how bad Donald Trump is at speaking. And it's partly because he's mentally no longer there, right? Like, you know, when you do these interviews, you're pressed for time, you're trying to keep it relevant, you're trying to keep it on topic. And so when you're having this back and forth as a journalist, you press him, you know, he evades it, he comes back, and then you run out of time and you move on, and you realize you spent like 20 minutes and you don't get any answers. Even with Joe Rogan giving him unlimited 3 hours. Say whatever you want to say. He's going from Robert Lee to UFC to whale watching to Khabib to...
Look, I wish I could do that here on the show. Can I just stay on for 3 hours? Just talk about anything.
It's a 2-hour show.
I know, but
you can't have 3 hours on a 2-hour show.
I've interviewed doctors that, like Dr. John Gartner from Duty to Warn and others, who look at this, and the word is not weave. The word they will use, I'm not a doctor, so I can't say it, but they'll tell me it's dementia or it's steep cognitive decline, and that this is part of, it's not normal aging, it's advanced aging. And, you know, people get older, your memory gets a little harder to access words, thoughts. He's just grappling to connecting in his brains. That's all this is. So it's not a weave. It's like he gets lost, his brain goes afar, and then something in his brain goes like, we're talking about tariffs. And then it's like, okay, and then they come back to tariffs. That's what that's what's going on. You have a guy who's grappling cognitively, and if he gets back in the office for 4 years with more pressure in the office, that's going to be expedited. That aging, that dementia, or that cognitive decline, whatever it is. And it's going to have, it'll be I call it a Pinot, a president name only, where he'll be controlled by his handlers. They'll never 25th Amendment him. They'll just control him like a puppet. J.D. Vance, Project 2025 guys will be running everything behind the scenes. He'll sign everything. They give him a cheeseburger and a Diet Coke, and that's it.
Push him off.
That's exactly. That's literally what they're going to do. America should get ready for that. That's what's going to happen. He won't make it for 4 years cognitively.
I mean, even speaking of Fox, when he goes on Fox, even Fox now edits his interviews because they know that like the things that he says and rambles are just so detrimental to everything he is trying to do politically that they just can't even afford to let him do that. And yet the double standards again with Donald Trump. Kamala Harris is going on 60 Minutes, going into Fox, if you even want to call that, you know, a news organization. She's doing, I believe, Brene Brown, you know, a tough interview, a long-form interview, in-depth interview. She's done Call Her Daddy. She's done the whole gamut of things. And this guy can't even make it through a 3-hour say whatever you want interview without coming across like an idiot.
But funny enough is that all of these news outlets, the AP, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and others will say, oh, because he mentioned the word tariff, he gave an economic speech on Rogan, right? Oh, he mentioned the word
tariffs, UFC, politics. You know, Donald Trump.
He mentions the word whale. Donald Trump spent a long time talking about the environment, right? Like this is the kind of BS that we're up against right now. And the reality is that, you know, Kamala Harris is playing chess. Donald Trump is playing with Play-Doh, and the media says they're both doing the same game.
It is definitely an interesting thing to see the fact that, like, the media will spin some of these things. I remember even when he was asked a question once about tariffs, and he went on this, like, rambling answer, meandering answer that made absolutely no sense about how he wants to impose tariffs and how that's somehow good for the economy, when that wasn't even the question. The framing of it was Donald Trump talks about the economy and, like, kind of assigns him things. They try to basically fill in the gaps of his logic for him.
Are you saying there's some corporate media bias that helps Donald Trump and makes sense of things that are nonsensical? Yes, that's a big part of it. Can I just say one quick thing about the bro vote strategy? It's not a winner. I hope everyone gets it.
Why not?
Because, first of all, young women in 2020 voted 11% higher than young men. And since 1980, women vote about 10 points higher than men, including the early voting data so far. Guess what? Women, 55% of the vote, 45% are men. So these gender gaps that you see, it's a wash. Trump's leading men by what Harris is leading by women. That's not a wash. That's not even close. Women are coming out in much bigger numbers. That's already happening in the early voting. So I want everyone to keep watching those numbers. If that happens on exit polling election night in the battlegrounds, Vice President Harris wins. That's really the key. That gets smaller, then I'm going to be deeply concerned. But women are going to win this election. They're going to save us, Danielle. You're going to save us.
It would not be the first time that women have saved this country. Certainly women of color have saved this country in previous elections, as we've seen.